Hi and welcome to Dr. Mix. On this video we're going to talk about Seventh Heaven, a brand new reverb from Liquidsonics. This reverb promises a lot. It's basically an emulation of the legendary Bricasti M7. So what we're gonna do today, we're going to run some music through it and see how good it actually is. Alright, the first thing is the interface. The interface, I have to admit, it looks really nice, really clean. It's slick. It gives you all the basic controls that you would need. This is the Seventh Heaven Professional, by the way. But if you want to go deeper into the sound, you can open your master equalizer. You can go to your advanced controls where you have controls over your reflections, your pre-delays, your roll-offs, and so on and so forth. I mean, all these details, I won't go through all of them because you can easily find the information online, on their website, but we're going to play some music through it. So the very first thing we're going to play through it is the usual suspect, vocals.
People sometimes come and go when the path that they walk seems to stop. And people sometimes disappear with the passion that's driving them near. But you lie.
Okay, this sounds lush. This sounds really beautiful. It sounds smooth. It sounds dense. It's a great reverb. It screams quality. Now, let me get something out of the way. Seventh Heaven is a convolution reverb. Most convolution reverbs don't have the flexibility that algorithmic reverbs have. Basically, you get the impulse, and if it's like 1.5 seconds, you're kind of stuck with it. You cannot do much to change it. But what separates Seventh Heaven from other convolution reverbs is that you have total control over the reverb tails, the early reflections, and the engine is built so that it can accommodate those impulses very well, so it can give you the optimum results. So let's try and change the reverb time, the decay time, and see how it sounds. Let's make it short.
People sometimes come and go when the path that they walk seems to stop. And people sometimes disappear with the path.
You know what I mean? It sounds very natural. It sounds like, I would say, an algorithmic reverb. It sounds really nice. You have total control. Now, the other cool thing that you can do is that if you go to your advanced controls, you have total control over the reflection patterns. So now I can just blend between the early reflections and, of course, my reverb tail right there. So let me go all the way to early reflections and see how that sounds. And let's try and play with the patterns here.
People sometimes come and go when the path that they walk seems to stop. And people sometimes disappear with the passion that's driving them near.
Alright, so that's one of the reasons when we first tried this reverb, we were blown away, to be honest with you, because basically these early reflections make your vocals sound so three-dimensional. I mean, listen with and without the early reflections.
People sometimes come and go when the path that they walk seems to stop.
It seems like you're adding almost like an airy layer to your sound. It sounds more 3D, it sounds wide, but unlike other reverbs, it doesn't sound muddy or kind of, nasal. Sometimes this can happen when you add early reflections. So
and people sometimes
and this is almost like a larger room. This is a very small room.
With the passion that's driving.
But even the small room adds something to the sound, especially if you're working with pop vocals. That's something that makes your vocals so wide. Very good. So let's try a few more algorithms. Let's try the holes.
Them near, but you like no one else. Keep me longing and wanting much more. And we're so inseparable.
Let's try plates.
That's the truth going, and I think it shows. you should be giving me love.
And the impression that I get is that's a reverb sound that blends so well into the mix. It's not so obvious, especially the dark plates, and of course if you roll it off,
Seems to stop.
but the tails are so natural, but they don't stick out like some reverbs do when you kind of hear the reverb poke. Let's try something else and then we'll move to a different sound. Let's try the spaces.
And people sometimes disappear with the passion that's driving them near.
So these are really long spaces. Let's try Reflect Chapel.
But you, like no one else, keep me longing and wanting.
I would totally use that for church organ sound, or, I mean, these are great for orchestras as well, for orchestral music.
Much more, and we're so inseparable. That's the truth, going, and I think it's so, yeah.
Now, another thing I want to try before we move on to some different material, let's try the large and dark.
Times come and go when the path that they walk seems
Beautiful as well. This is a chamber sound. Now, I want to show you what the pre-delay does. Of course, you have the pre-delay here, but you can also synchronize it to your tempo. So I can say I want the pre-delay to be an 8th note.
to stop. And people sometimes disappear.
And let's add the delay.
With the passion that's driving them near. But you, like no one else.
So as you can hear, lots of options if you want to make your vocals sound wider, if you want to add lots of, specialization, kind of reverb and delay alike at the same time. Let's move to something else. Let's move to drums. All right, let's add a room. At this point, I want to mention something else. A very special characteristic of the Bricasti M7 is the way that it handles the low end in a completely different manner compared to all the other frequencies. That's replicated on the 7th heaven because we have a very low frequency reverb level right here. So let's try and play with it and see what it does. I hope you're listening through headphones or you have your monitor speakers because this detail is really important. You can dial in the sound of the low end and you can have total control, especially when you have something like this stereo drum loop where you want to add the reverb but actually control the reverb level on the low end. That's really, really special. Let's try some different sounds. Let's listen without the reverb. Again, you can be as subtle as you want. Let's go to rooms number 2. Ambience. And again, with the reverb. Without. So it's a great way to add life to dry drums. What I realized straight away is that you don't need to try. You just load a preset and it always sounds good. You don't need to tweak it so much. That's great. Let's go and play some percussion through it. Let's try the nonlinear algorithms. Nice. Let's try a plate. Again, percussion, very challenging instrument. Quite a few reverbs sound grainy when you run percussion through them, but check out the Seventh Heaven. There's not a hint of grain. It's super smooth. Again. It's pretty cool. Brilliant. All right, now let's try it on some clean electric guitar. Maybe I'll try a whole. And just for fun, let's try and extend the decay time. This is almost like a separate instrument. Now let's use it on some funky guitars. Let's try some ambience. Let's try room. Fantastic. All right, now let's use it on an electric guitar solo. Again. This is really nice. So there you go, guys. That was Seventh Heaven. As a reverb junkie, I have to admit I'm quite impressed by it. It's one of those plugins that you cannot make it sound bad, whatever you do. And whatever you run through it, it makes it sound beautiful and more expensive. Let us know down in the comments what you think and what's your favorite reverb plugin. If you like this video, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. And we'll see you on the next one. Peace.